Good morning. Good morning to all of you, wherever you may be today. I welcome you to another episode of On Tomorrow Show. I'm your host, Dr. Onyoha Osimiri. If you joined this show in the past, welcome back. If this is your first time, thank you for joining me. And remember to hit the like button and share this video because this video can help quite a lot of people. Please do not hesitate to share your thoughts on the video right here in the comment sections. Thank you so very much. Ntomoto is an Igbo Nigerian word that means long life to all of you. That is what I hope and pray for you. This is the talking drum session, a version of the Ntomoto show, but only half an hour long. Here I get to speak to you without any guests present. So we're going to get started. Many things are going on in our world today that were brought to my attention. Some of them I read myself and I thought it was important to discuss them. And some were brought to my attention. So we're going to address some of these. Actually, there are just two of them that we're going to address today. Before I go on, I would like to congratulate the youth of Nigeria for standing steadfast as they strive for law and order, law and justice to prevail following the last election in Nigeria that was absolutely a disaster. Chineke always has the last word, and we trust that the will of the divine will clear up the air and allow victory to come to those who have earned it. Yes, we know who those are. I don't have to call names. If you're in Nigeria, you know what I'm talking about. We are going to be winners ultimately because the truth shall come to the surface. And I trust that the Supreme Court of Nigeria will do the right thing and give the mandate to the person who won it and won it fairly. I would like to take this opportunity as well to let my dear friend and program director, Brooke Berlin Baxter, know that I am thinking of her today as she's under the weather. Brooke, you are a fighter, and I want you to know that I believe that, and I know that you are going to come out of this with flying colors. The first issue today has to do with the difficulty many people experience getting a remote job. Since COVID, so many people have been trying to get remote jobs, not feeling comfortable with working at the various places of work, but they are all seeking, many are seeking remote work. Remote jobs are not very easy to get, you know. Some are successful to get it, some are not successful. Due to high competition, it's really very hard to accomplish, to land a remote job. If you've been able to do that because of whatever you've done, then congratulations to you. But there are so many people at the moment who are having such difficulty getting anyone to hire them for the remote positions. Part of the reason, again, is that the competition is just not local. They're not looking for just local talent. They're also looking for the highly qualified talent, applying for the same position from all around the world. Not only that, but there could be hundreds or even thousands of applications submitted. So it is important to note that you're not the only one trying to get remote jobs. You know, most people don't feel comfortable going to work anymore. They prefer, and because of the cost of childcare, many women in particular prefer to work at home, and so that they can keep an eye on their children without having to pay so much money. However, if you're still struggling, here are some ideas that can help you. Can help to have your application to be seen. I happen to have a remote job as a university online instructor, so I can truly offer you this advice based on experience. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But here are some points that you need to know, and I think they're very, very important. Highlight and state your previous remote experience and skills relevant to the job that you're doing. Know your abilities and be confident in them, because they're going to ask you questions about the remote experience. And if you don't have it, it's going to be a little challenging for you. But know your abilities so you're able to share, to show that you're confident in what you're able to do. If you're confident and if you have had remote work in the past, it lets your employer know that you're not going to be investing too much. They're not going to be investing too much time trying to train you in remote work. You may also want to let them know that you have the capacity to do the work because you're going to have a particular area in your house that you're going to utilize strictly for the workplace. If they hire you, it will be a quiet place, a quiet area with a strong and fast internet connection and headphones. Those are very important things. They really don't want to think that they have to buy those things for you. You have to actually let them know that you have those equipment available to do the work. Also, make sure that these things are available when they ask for it, not that you're going to get it. Some companies require that you have multiple screens. It is wise to gain knowledge about using multiple screens, because some people don't know how to do that. I personally had to learn how to do that, to use multiple screens. So you may want to learn how to do that first before you get started. Finally, you want to be able to ask some questions pertaining to the job you're applying for. Don't just let the interviewer ask all the questions. You have to show the company that you actually have genuine interest in learning about the company or about just the job being offered. You want to know all that you can know about any company that you're applying, you see, because the more you know about the company, the better you can ask some sensible questions, and the more comfortable they feel knowing that you are aware of what's going on about their company and certainly about the job that you're asking for. So let me reiterate for you again. Make sure first and foremost, if you're applying for remote work, that if you've had a previous experience or skills relating to this job, make sure that you're confident about them and you're able to share it with the person that's the company that's hiring. This lets them know again that you're not going to be, they're not going to be investing too much time trying to teach you. Okay. And also you want to make sure that you have the capacity, the work area and the equipment necessary, and that you're going to be able to utilize them strictly for the workplace and work area if they hire you. Make sure that you have fast internet connections and good working headphones. Okay, there's nothing worse than not having a good internet connection and not having good headphones. These are very, very important. Again, make sure that you're not just telling them you're about to go and buy them before you go to such an interview. Make sure you've already bought the equipment. You're not going to go and tell them, oh, I'm just getting ready to get the equipment. Pardon me, some companies require multiple screens, as I indicated earlier. So you make sure that you are knowledgeable about how to use those multiple screens. Don't get the job and you don't know how to use it, because it's going to be obvious. Usually what happens when you have a remote job, that you have a supervisor, pardon me. So they're going to be checking to make sure that you have what you need to do the work. And finally, know about the organization so that you can ask questions pertaining to the job. And that is very important. I have a bit of a cough right now, so I'm going to play a video that will allow me to get myself together. And I shall be right back.
African Women Mobilization Commission Child Sponsorship Program. Here at OMSI, we believe that every child deserves a chance to thrive, no matter who they are or where they live, and that opportunities help a child to develop and build precious imagination. A healthy and imaginative mind can see the possibilities of the future. And a child with a future can weather the storms of life if given the right tools and the chance.
Oh, I am so sorry. Oh, I had a bit of a cough, and I had to step out for a minute and get what I need, get myself comfortable. I think I'm quite prepared right now to continue. So anyway, as I was saying, it's so important. If you're looking for this kind of work, be prepared. Don't go into the business of remote work and you don't have what you need and you're not prepared. You don't know anything about the company that you're asking to hire you. Know about them so that you can discuss it and discuss with them based on knowledge. Ask questions. Don't let the company be the only one that's asking you questions. And I know that a lot of people who want remote work, I know why they like it. It's comfortable. It helps with the family. It helps with the children. It helps you. You know, sometimes not everybody likes to get up in the morning and go to work. Not everybody likes to go out in the mornings and get work and go to work. Some of us like to just, be in our pajamas. I've seen that happen, and so I can appreciate why people like to work remotely. But like I said earlier, just make sure that you are very well prepared for such a position. Then the other topic that I have today is. It's about somebody who was, quite frankly, victimized. But just because you were victimized doesn't mean you have to remain a victim. It doesn't mean that you have to embrace victimhood. Um, this particular situation is a real life predicament of a woman who discovered that despite sustaining her family financially and paying for all her fiance's needs while in the United States, he travels to Africa where her family approved of him. They were supposed to do their wine carrying, and she couldn't be there. And because she couldn't be there, she asked for her sister to stand in her place. Well, her sister did stand in her place, but unfortunately, because she couldn't leave her job here in the United States and go home, the sister and her fiance then got together after the wine carrying, and then became very close. And unbeknownst to her, he got her pregnant. And when she decided to go home, she thought it was quite interesting when a friend of hers was asking her if she was aware of what was going on in at home. And she said she was not aware. She says, "Well, I have to prepare you before you take that step to go home. What has happened is that your mother has approved that your fiance should marry the your sister, who's younger, much younger than you are, and consequently can give the her husband, your fiance, a child, because this woman herself is 40 years old. I mean, there are people who are 40 who can still have children, but this is what happened. And she couldn't understand it. She was devastated. How could her boyfriend do this to her? And then, of course, he decides that she should understand. How do you understand such a thing? I mean, it's to trust, to help somebody to get to be where they are today, and you're still paying, you're still giving your money to the family, to your mother, to your sister, to the fiance. Everybody's depending on you. And then what happens when you needed them? They backstabbed you. Not only did the sister sit for you, she then now has married your fiance, and now they're expecting a child together while you're here in America without knowing what was going on behind you. Well, so what is she's asking for help. What should she do? Well, I could quite easily say, forget them. Don't send your money back home anymore. I could quite easily say that, but I do know it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to forget that you've done all of this and this happens to you. It is difficult at best for people to forgive such a thing. I can imagine the anger she must have for her mom, who she has been supporting, giving money to. I can imagine the anger she has towards her sister, who betrayed her tremendously, who instead of just sitting in for her as she was supposed to, goes now behind her and then gets involved with her fiance. And of course, you can imagine how she felt about her fiance, knowing fully well what he went to I believe it's Nigeria to do, will then turn around and marry her sister and is expecting a child from her sister. I cannot even begin to tell you how this woman must feel, because if it was me, I would not be happy. No woman, I don't think, would be happy. But you know what? Sometimes things happen for a good reason. Sometimes things just happen for a good reason. You could have married this man and found out the kind of person he is after the fact, because this shows you very clearly that he was using you. He used you to get to where he wanted to go. Instead of you being upset, sometimes bad things happen for good reason. And instead of us being so bitter, we may have to just let it go. See, it takes a lot of courage to let something go. A lot of courage. I'm not saying to let it go because I know it's an easy thing to do. On the contrary, I know it's a very difficult thing to do. As a matter of fact, it's easier to hang on to something, trying to make it better, than letting it go. Now, letting it go doesn't mean that you ignore the situation. It doesn't mean that you should act like it never happened or it doesn't exist. Well, it happened. There's a baby to show for it. Your husband, your fiance is at home with her. So that does exist. But letting go does not mean acting as if you're not upset. You should be. I don't know how many women can say that they are not upset, or they will not be upset about such a thing, or that they are not disturbed by such a thing. Letting go means dropping your hands to your sides. It means that it's okay to feel the way you feel. It's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to be fearful of what the consequences are for what just happened. It means that it's okay to cry or scream or do any such thing, to let it all out. But after you've done all of that, you cannot hold on. After you've done all of that, then you have to let go. After you've done all of that, you do what is very exclusively pertinent to letting go. Do nothing. Do nothing about it. There's nothing you can do now but to get yourself upset. If you try to do anything about it, all they're going to do is they're going to try and explain to you why it happened. And then you're going to feel that you're not good enough, that it was your fault. As a matter of fact, when people do these kinds of things, we end up blaming ourselves for it happening when it's not our fault. It's not your fault. Letting go means accepting it just the way it is, without resistance, without fear. Letting go means that you don't struggle for control. Don't try and control the situation. It's already happened. There's really nothing you can do now to undo it. He's already told you to be understanding. He's told you to be understanding because guess what? He's accepted it. He's made his decision. Yelling, screaming, and having a fit over it, it's not going to change. But you have to love yourself enough to let go. You've got to love yourself enough to let go. It means living through the fear of your worst thoughts, all the things you can't imagine how this happened. It's okay to think all those things. It's okay to express the pain. it's okay to share with someone that this was a disappointment. It could be him that you share that it's been a disappointment. It could be your mother. It could be your sister. But don't try to fix it because there's nothing to fix. Don't try to fix something that cannot be fixed. Yes, you have a right to feel anger because of the betrayal. But don't live in denial that it happened, because it did happen. Don't reject yourself. Don't allow this to define you. Don't allow what has happened to define you, to make you feel you're not good enough. You're not beautiful enough. You're too old. I mean, I thought that was really very interesting that your mother feels that because you're 40 years old, your younger sister is a better wife for him, because she can bear children. I know 40-year-olds that can have children. I've known 70-something-year-olds who have had children. So that is not a good excuse. I'm not sure what he did for your mother to turn against you in that manner. That is what, quite frankly, that is what I call betrayal. But it goes to show, though, that those who betray you may actually come from your own family. Your best friends may not be in your family. You would love that to be the case. We all would love that to be the case. But in this situation, we have a mother who agreed with her other daughter to take away something held dear by her other daughter. That is so wrong. In so many ways, that is just very wrong. But I tell you what, I'm not going to tell you to hate your mother. I'm not going to tell you to hate your sister. But I can tell you to acknowledge that you don't know what to do, yes, or how to do it. And that's okay, because it's not a very easy thing to deal with, such as you've experienced. But you have to admit to yourself that you've done all you have done thus far. Admit to yourself all the good you've done thus far. And even though you have not gotten what you expected, admit to yourself that you have done the best that you could and that you are still a good person. Stand still for a moment. Let all these things happen around you. Let them crumble around you. The world, everything. Let everything crumble around you. Pause. Take it all in. But no matter what, don't blame yourself. No matter what, don't stop loving yourself. No matter what, don't stop doing things that make you happy. Obviously, this man came into your life for a moment. And quite frankly, that's what happens. People come into your life for a moment. They don't come into your life to be there permanently. They come in there for just a moment. And so what you do now is thank him for opening your eyes. Thank him for the time he spent in your life. But you're moving on. Don't give him and them the satisfaction of you breaking down. Don't do that. You see, what's going to happen ultimately when they stop hearing from you, because I'm going to tell you, cut off the money. Stop spending. Let mom ask the sister that you have been supporting, that she now feels is much better. Let her be the one taking care of mom now. Or let your fiance that you have been taken care of. As a matter of fact, from what my understanding, the financial, everything financial was dependent on you. Well, let them depend on him for a change. For all those relatives who were there when your sister stood for you, but it was okay for them to allow this to happen, and none of them told you about it. Have the courage to let go. Have the courage to let go. Let them all go. No, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be friends or talk to them or anything, but you know what? Shut down the bank. Keep your money. Save your money. See, we all have a tendency to want to save the world, and then we realize that all our effort sometimes is for nothing. And when that does happen, as it sometimes does, shut that the bank and walk away. Shut the bank down and walk away. That is what you're, at this point, that's all that you're obligated to do. You're not obligated to do anything else but just walk away. Guess what? That's the interesting part of this whole thing. They survived without you all this while that they were doing all this stuff behind you. They're going to have to survive without you. For real, though. They'll have to do without your money. I would say keep in touch, but not in touch with their needs, not in touch with their wants. Just keep in touch because they're family. And when your sister calls and she wants to talk to you about what happened, to explain what happened, tell her that you're good with it. You're moving on. You're good with it. There's a child that's coming on the way, your nephew or your niece. Don't blame them for what happened. Say hello to them. But what's going to make them feel bad is not that you feel bad. It's that you don't feel bad. It's that you're moving on. It's that you have found your voice. It's that you have found that you are good enough. Guess what, my dear? When the right person comes, he will find you. He would appreciate you. But my recommendation this time is don't send anyone home again to stand for you. If you can't get there yourself, then there's no point in going there. History has a way of repeating itself. I dare say it may happen again. That is the talking drum for today. And I just want to let you go. I just want you to know that you're going to be okay. These things happen sometimes for the good. As I indicated earlier, you may not appreciate it initially, but they do happen for a reason. Life has happened to you. But you know, this is one negative aspect of life that has happened to you. But guess what? The good part of it will happen to you again. And this time, it will have longevity. This has been Dr. Onyoha Osimiri. Remember, as I said earlier, please, if this is the first time that you have joined us, thank you for joining me today. If you have joined us before, thank you for joining me today. If you haven't, please be sure to share this video and also like this video and subscribe to my channel. On that note, I wish you nothing but goodness as you move forward through life. Yagazie. So it is.